This is KGW News at noon.
Thanks for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Drew Carney, and we start this afternoon with a developing story out of Vancouver, where police say a man was shot earlier this morning. They also told us he is expected to survive. Officers responded around 6:30 this morning to a shots fired call near Northeast 28th Street and 138th Avenue. Police believe the shooting happened behind the parking lot of the Vancouver Clinic business office. They also told us the victim walked into a nearby convenience store and told people there he'd been shot. He was taken to a hospital and underwent surgery, but again, his injuries are not considered life-threatening. Vancouver police says a white SUV was also reported in the area at the time of the shooting, but they have no information so far about a suspect and also haven't made any arrests. No school again today for tens of thousands of Portland kids as teachers across the city remain on strike. Earlier this morning, some Portland teachers joined their students in a student-led march in Southeast Portland. The teachers' demands remain the same. They're asking for more pay, smaller class sizes, and more planning time. The district says they've made progress when it comes to planning and prep time, but not when it comes to the issue of pay. The teachers' union says the district won't move at all when it comes to reworking its budget.
We've been asking for the same things. We're asking them to cut administrative costs and put that money in our schools. Because right now we have so many schools that are underfunded and not receiving the support they need.
Over the last week, people have called on our district to make budget cuts. That's been our reality since we began bargaining in January. Each package that we have offered to PAT since we started bargaining in January would require us to make cuts. The question is just how much and from where.
Bargaining between the teachers union and the Portland Public School District is scheduled to continue this afternoon. We know the strike is impacting students and families across the city. It's also impacting some local businesses. For more on that story, here's KGW's Catherine Cook.
Thank you, man. Have a nice day.
This was just the fifth customer of the day to drop by Taco City in southwest Portland.
It's been hard, you know.
Jorge Cristobal owns Taco City. It's part of the Hillsdale Food Cart Park near Ida B. Wells High School. Since the PPS teacher strike began November 1st, he says business has dropped by about 75%.
I mean, you can see the park is empty, you know, and like we don't really do like no business without the kids.
Those working at neighboring food carts echo Jorge's concerns. They're grateful for customers who are making a special effort to drop by, like Nathan Butler.
We want them to be here, when the strike is over. We don't want them to fold and go under. So.
Other restaurants are helping teachers and students during the strike. At Laughing Planet, the restaurant is giving teachers a 20% discount while they're on the picket lines and not getting paid. They're also giving students who qualify for free lunch free meals at Laughing Planet.
We're just trying to help, just trying to make it a little easier.
CEO Franz Spielvogel says it just feels like the right thing to do.
There's a lot of families out there that really depend on public schools far more than just the instruction and going to school. And that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of people understand.
Other businesses are also stepping up. Among them, Bang Bang Cocktails and Curry on Northeast Fremont. During the strike, they're offering teachers happy hour pricing all day. And at Double Mountain Brewery and Tap Room, they're offering teachers and those with school kids at home a 10% discount from noon to 5. Back at the food carts.
We cannot keep up this business if we not making no money.
Jorge says each day that passes gets harder and the questions tougher.
How can we keep up with this?
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Of course, we'll continue to cover the teachers' strike both here on the air and on our digital platforms, including coverage of today's bargaining session that again is scheduled for later this afternoon. Yamhill County workers are also still striking after first walking off their jobs last Friday. Their union was back at the bargaining table with the county this morning. Those workers are also looking for more pay. The county says it's working to limit the strike's impact on critical county services. All right, Rob, we're going to take a quick break from the news headlines to check in with you there in the Weather Center. What are you working on today?
Well, we're not quite finished with the shower activity yet. Good afternoon, but it is pretty quiet outside, and I still think
As we go through the afternoon hours, a shower threat will eventually end. But for now, still a little bit rotating in to Clatsop County off the Pacific. We still have some snow showing up in some of the mountains out east, and we still have a snow level over the Cascades down to about 3,500 feet. But all of the moisture is really backed off. We're mainly looking at scattered light amounts right now. Earlier this morning, we had some snow sticking to the pavement, but I'm talking about Cascade passes. But as expected, temperatures have warmed. There's Government Camp right now at 36 degrees, just a nice wet pavement. Now, some areas, absolutely gorgeous. Check out Lincoln County. This is the camera from the Channel House in Depot Bay. There's downtown, there's 101, beautiful sunshine. Not so sunny in Portland, but we are seeing some breaks in the cloud cover out there. 57, currently dry at PDX, so temperatures are comfortable. We're going to hold fairly steady in the temperature department. I think the shower threat will be over by 4 o'clock. And then overnight tonight, some of you will get down to the 30s as dry weather, cooler weather returns. That's ahead of my complete forecast. Drew? All right, more Rod coming up here in about 15 minutes, but now we want to get back to some local headlines. We start with Election Day in the U.S. and Election Day right here in the Pacific Northwest. A number of local counties here in Oregon and Southwest Washington are holding special elections today. We want to quickly mention Washington County. There is a levy there to increase fire and emergency services in Cornelius and Gaston. To see what else is on the county ballot there, you can visit the Washington County election page. We also want to mention Clackamas County this afternoon because there are counselor positions up for grabs in Gladstone and in West Lynn, along with a bond to put a police station in Molalla. Another reminder here, for ballots to count, they do have to be dropped off at an election site or an election drop box by 8 o'clock tonight or be postmarked with today's date. One county along the Washington coast is dealing with a lot of questions after accidentally posting sample election results. So a viewer sent us these screenshots from the Pacific County Elections website on Thursday afternoon. They were up there for about 2 hours before they were eventually taken down. So we were told by the county that these sample results were not real. They were generated as part of the county's test of their tabulation equipment. The Washington State Secretary of State's office says they can assure voters true election results will be accurately counted and then will be reported.
This was not tabulating anybody's ballot. This was not posting any results early. We have a very specific state law that says all counties cannot tabulate their ballots that people have sent in until 8 p.m. on election night.
Moving forward, the Pacific County Auditor says election staff will be double checking the URL that they're using to assure that they're publishing run-throughs to the test website and not the county's official website. Meanwhile, on the Oregon coast, a debate over elk has divided communities there. Some love to see the herds roam. Others, though, consider them a nuisance. And now many have turned their attention to one property owner who we know has killed nearly 80 elk over the last 3 years. KGW's Joe Ranieri has more.
Seeing the different elk herds have been somewhat of a fixture along the northern Oregon coast for almost 20 years now. Now, many residents in this area are upset by a law that allows residents to hunt them. One of the classic signs you're at Cannon Beach or Gearhart, it's not the sights and sounds of the waves crashing, it's the herd of elk you sometimes can spot.
Elk are one of the iconic animals of the North Oregon coast. Visitors come here, they love to see them.
Now, many residents are upset that these iconic animals were allowed to be killed on private property over a nearly 3-year period. This all started after a homeowner was tired of having to deal with the elk destroying his fences on his nearly 50-acre property in Surf Pines. So he got in touch with the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife and was granted 77 elk tags.
The property in question was experiencing damage, and as a agency, ODFW is statutorily required to assist landowners with alleviating damage.
It was 10 years ago when Oregon lawmakers passed the Oregon Landowner Damage Program. That's a law that allows property owners to receive tags from ODF&W to hunt elk if they are causing damage on someone's property. What has many residents upset is that there was no public hearing about it. The thing is, though, they don't have to.
The Oregon Landowners Damage Program requires no public input or no public notification, so they had no obligation to notify anybody.
There's still a large elk population at the coast, but what residents like Bob Attia are worried about, what this law could mean for the elk population many of us have come to know and love out here.
We hear it from both sides. whether it's too many elk and they're causing damage and in conflict with people, or your people not seeing the elk that they expect.
I spoke to the property owner over the phone. Now, he didn't want to go on camera, but he did tell me he reached out to the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife to see if there was a way they could relocate the herd of elk. He was told that couldn't happen. And if you're wondering why can't the city council get involved in all of this, that's because this took place out of city limits. Along the northern Oregon coast, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Well, the Timbers officially introduced their new head coach at an introductory press conference this morning. Phil Neville is a former player who played in England's Premier League and most recently, that is, served as the assistant coach for the Canadian national team. This morning, Neville talked about his vision for the Timbers.
In terms of the way that I want to play, I'm an attacking coach. I want us to attack. I want us to entertain. I want us to play good football.
Neville actually starts his tenure here with a bit of controversy. He also commented on a letter from the Timbers Army that criticized the Timbers for picking him as their new head coach because of sexist tweets that he made back in 2011. Neville repeated what he said in 2019, saying that those tweets in 2011 were wrong. They were wrong then, and they continue to be wrong now. He also said he would like to meet with the Timbers Army as soon as possible to address these issues directly with them.